It is time for another list, and this is going to be one that's been requested a lot. Death albums ranked from worst to best. Amazing band, extremely influential in the death metal subgenre. They, of course, were led by the great Chuck Schuldiner. He sang and did guitar for them. He unfortunately passed away in 2001, so RIP to him. But Death, amazing band, a ton of great stuff. Their first album came out in 1987 called Scream Bloody Gore, up through their 1998 album, The Sound of Perseverance, and they never released a bad album, so any list I see, I really wouldn't be surprised by it. Any of these albums could be number one or last for anybody, just depending on your personal preference. But I'm going to give my take on it, so here we go. Starting off my list at the bottom is going to have to be their debut, Scream Bloody Gore. Came out in 1987, and by no means do I think it's a bad album, just I think they got better as time went on. At this point, they were pretty much just like a straightforward death metal band with a lot of thrash influence, but as time went on, they got more progressive and technical, which I like a little bit better. But at this point, the band was Chuck Schuldiner doing all the stuff. He did bass, guitar, vocals, and a guy named Chris Reinert doing the drumming. And some of my favorite songs on it, looking at this track listing, you got 10 songs. I'd say Zombie Ritual, Mutilation, and Evil Dead for sure is my favorite. That one was actually on the Mantis demos, Death by Metal in 1984, and then it eventually made it onto this album. But still very solid album. Scream Bloody Gore, number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Leprosy. Came out in 1988. Another very solid release here. I think it's a bit of a step up from their debut, Scream Bloody Gore, in 87. The overall songwriting and production of the album a bit better. Looking at these tracks, there's 8 of them. I'd say my 3 favorites are Born Dead, Open Casket, and Primitive Ways. Open Casket for sure my favorite. Really great riff, and then gets to the guitar solo. Very awesome, chaotic. Sounds kind of similar to something you'd hear in a Slayer song, that kind of solo, but the lineup, he brought back Rick Ross, who was the original guitarist alongside Chuck when they were called Mantis. He left for a while, I guess, and then came back for this album. And a guy named Bill Andrews does the drumming on it. So, very solid album. Not much bad to say about it. Leprosy, number 6. Taking the number 5 spot is Spiritual Healing. It's actually the shirt I'm wearing right now. Came out in 1990 and is another really good album. And here I think is where their sound started to shift a little bit. Got a little bit more technical and progressive. You know, the way the songs were structured, it would be sounding kind of like Leprosy style, really heavy driving guitar riff. And then all of a sudden it would shift into like a pretty technical progressive guitar solo. They brought in James Murphy to play guitar alongside Chuck here. He has played in several other really good bands like Cancer, Testament, Obituary. Really great player. And looking at this track listing, there's 8 songs again. My 3 favorites I'd say are Living Monstrosity, Killing Spree, and the title track. Just another really good release here. Spiritual Healing, number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Individual Thought Patterns. Came out in 1993. Great album, and the lineup is ridiculous. The guitar player on it is Andy LaRocque alongside Chuck Schuldiner. Amazing guitarist, obviously from King Diamond, one of my favorites of all time. Gene Hoglan on the drums, who's an absolute machine, and Steve DiGiorgio on the bass. Great player as well. And honestly, this one and the next one on my list could switch depending on the day. But right now, I'm feeling it right here at number 4. Looking at the track listing, 10 songs, a lot of great stuff. My 3 favorites, I'd say, are probably Inhuman Form. Out of Touch is a really great, not really talked about song. And The Philosopher, the final track on the album. Just, yeah, another really great album here. Individual Thought Patterns, number 4. Coming in at number 3 is Human. Came out in 1991. Really great album. I've seen some people say it's overrated, which I strongly disagree with. But the lineup, they brought in Sean Reinert to do the drumming, Paul Masvidal doing the guitar playing alongside of Chuck, and Steve DiGiorgio doing the bass playing. Overall, there's 8 songs on it. A lot of really great, awesome, heavy stuff here. Together as One, Secret Face, and Lack of Comprehension. Probably my 3 favorites, but it's all good. Yeah, Human, number 3. Taking the number 2 spot is The Sound of Perseverance. Really great album that came out in 1998. And with this one, I've actually seen some Death fans hate on it in the past, say it's too progressive, it's not death metal, Chuck's voice isn't good anymore. I disagree. I think this is an amazing album. Great musicianship from everybody in the band. Chuck's voice, I think it sounds maybe the best it's ever sounded personally. And the lineup at this point was Shannon Hamm on guitar alongside of Chuck, Richard Christie on the drums, and a guy named Scott Clendenin doing the bass playing. 9 songs on it, a lot of really great stuff, but I'd say my couple favorites are probably Bite the Pain for sure, one of their best songs of all time in my opinion, Flesh and the Power It Holds, and probably Spirit Crusher. They also did a really great cover of Painkiller by Judas Priest, so overall, just a very great album in my opinion. The Sound of Perseverance, number 2. And coming in at number 1 is Symbolic. Amazing album. Came out in 1995. Got it on vinyl up there on the wall. Got it on cassette tape right here. Most of this list pretty hard to put together, except for this one. There was no doubt in my mind. This has always been my favorite Death album. Start to finish, all killer, no filler. Amazing musicianship. All of these songs are amazing. I'll just read them all off real quick. The title track, Zero Tolerance, Empty Words, Sacred Serenity, A Thousand Eyes, Without Judgment, Crystal Mountain, Misanthrope, and Perennial Quest. All amazing stuff here. So without question, my favorite Death album, Symbolic. And that does wrap up my ranking of their albums. As usual, you guys can let me know what you thought. Give me your ranking in the comments. And until next time, thank you for watching.